All right, let's take a look at the Chiefs offense. So in this film review, we're going to look at all of the plays that involve the Chiefs' starting offensive line. So if you remember, they had a quick drive with the first team offense, and then they actually went with Gardner Minshew for a drive as well. So we're going to break down all of those plays, really because the offensive line, especially the left side of the offensive line, is a particular interest to us. So for the first team plays, we'll kind of break them down a little more holistically, and then when the second team comes in, we'll really focus on Josh Simmons at left tackle and Kingsley Suamataia at left guard to see if we can get a better idea of how they are playing and how they're playing with each other to give us an idea of what to think about the first team going forward. If you want thoughts about other offensive players and or defensive players, check out the Steeler Thoughts Chief Feelings podcast. We'll discuss some of them in more detail, but really for the film reviews, I'm looking at the people that we're expecting to play the majority of snaps on Sundays. I want to see how those guys are playing together as we start the new year. All right, so let's get started with this one. We've got the Chiefs with a quick first down and 10 inside the red zone because of a fumble forced on the opening kickoff. Jack Cochran punched it out, and Chiefs recovered. So we've got a first down, and the Chiefs are in 11 personnel. That's one running back, Isaiah Pacheco, one tight end, Travis Kelce. The wide receivers are Tyquan Thornton out wide, Juju Smith-Schuster in the slot, Xavier Worthy isolated on the other side. And of course, what we're interested in going forward, the left guard over here, Kingsley Suamataia getting the start, and Joshua Simmons at left tackle. So let's take a look at this play, and then we'll break it down. We got Mahomes in the shotgun. He motions Kelce over. Kelce comes back over to the left. Hands it off on a draw to Pacheco, who manages to bust his way up for close to 10 yards. Looks like more like 8.5, something like that. So let's see what happens here on this play. If you see, as they drop back, Mitchell Schwartz brought up the question, was the draw, really in the first 15, or do you think it was because of where they were on the field? They liked to play in that area. He opined that it was probably more the latter, that it was because they started in the red zone that their first play was a draw. But it is an interesting question. We don't see a ton of draws from him, this iteration of the Chiefs at least. But they look to be going to the right from the start. And if you look at Trey Smith in particular, the way that he kind of lets the tackle come in on him and then wall him off, creating a nice little hole for Pacheco. The Cardinals are playing like a soft drop coverage. You can see it's probably, appeared pretty static with the lack of response to Travis Kelce's motion. But they, weren't really flying to the line on this at all, so it made it for an easy situation for a draw. Looks like everybody on the line kind of held up. They didn't have that much to do. This was just a good play call against a good play call in the right situation. But the one that I would want to highlight is Trey Smith, the way that he walled off his tackle, creating the nice lane for Pacheco, and got up to the second level. We can see it from the end zone view. Here, Mahomes with the late handoff, and look at how Trey Smith just allows 94 to come to him and just gets him over to the side. Creed does a good job of kind of sneaking up and then making his move to get out in front of this. Kelce also comes to wall off second level defender, and Pacheco is able to sneak through for a good gain on first down. Then we jump to the second play, the forgotten play, or non-existent now play of the first team offense. After the run by Pacheco, Chiefs lined up here again in 11 personnel. We've got one running back, one tight end is Travis Kelce. Looks like they're about 2nd and 2 or so. Wide receivers, it's the same group. Thornton, Juju in the slot, Xavier Worthy. And really the same alignment. Let's run the play real quick and then we'll break it down. Kelsey comes across in motion the same way. Mahomes takes the snap, fakes the handoff, throws to Thornton, who goes down, not able to make the catch, but the Chiefs get a flag and they end up calling defensive pass interference. So this play is just a simple RPO here. Patrick Mahomes has the option to hand this off to Pacheco, or he's got a passing option over here where Juju's running a bubble screen and Thornton's running a slant. So his discretion, what he likes best, I think seeing as it doesn't look like there's going to be much help over the middle of the field. Look, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So they've got 8 in the box. So it's not great numbers for a run. So Mahomes may have looked at this right now and been like, I like the pass option. He might not ever have been running this, like handing this ball off. The line, as you'll see, is blocking as if it is a run. That's how RPOs work. So you're going to get a double team here and a double team here and then coming off to the next level. So the timing of the RPO is very important. Quarterback has to get that throw off before the linemen are more than a yard downfield. Otherwise, it'll be an ineligible man downfield. So here, fakes the handoff. Boom. And he's trying to hit Thornton on the slant. The defender actually gets pretty good position coming around, but it's this hand on his hip. You can see the ball's right here still. It's still in the air. And the hand on the hip and the twist right there where he like brings him to the ground. It's a little, I mean, by the book it's pass interference, you know. He's going down because he's trying to knock the ball away. But the fact that I feel like if he, at this instant right here, as he's coming, if he releases his hip right here, it's not called. But the fact that him coming down to knock the ball away resulted in him essentially like twisting Thornton and tackling him, that's why it's called pass interference. You can see it here from Mahomes' view, and what we really care about in this is these two gentlemen right here, who we're hoping is the future of the Chiefs' left side of the offensive line. Watch them come in and execute a nice double team. Creed and Trey do the same thing over here, the high-paid guys. And then Trey actually comes off to make a second-level block too. But there they are trying to move men. And as Mahomes gets the throw off, looks like Trey, they're not quite 2 yards. So usually between that 1 to 2, well, maybe it's hard to tell. It's close. Between that 1 to 2 yard mark, they get a little bit of leeway as far as being downfield. But Mahomes gets that throw off. They get the pass interference call. So it's going to be 1st and goal at the 1 yard line. Now jumping to the next play, which is the last play that the first team offense played in this game. We've got a 1st and goal at the 1 yard line. The Chiefs are lined up again in 11 personnel, as they've done on every play so far. We've got Pacheco as the running back, Kelsey as the tight end. 1 running back, 1 tight end gets you 11. The left side is the same. Thornton and then Juju in the slot. Juju directing Thornton where to stand. And then on the right side, instead of Worthy, we've got Jason Brownlee, who is a kind of camp darling for this year. And as we'll see once we run this was a play that was really kind of just set up for him intentionally. So I saw a lot of people talking about the fact that, like, okay, well, he was on the field before Royals. Like, what does that mean? Well, I wouldn't read too much into it because this play was clearly a play designed for him. You know, they brought him on the field for this play. So it doesn't really tell us what they think about him versus Royals or anybody else as an overall wide receiver. It just tells us that they're interested in his usage in the red zone and on these types of plays. So let's take a look at it and then we can break it down. We got Mahomes in the gun, takes a snap, throws to Brownlee back shoulder, Brownlee makes a great catch for the touchdown. And so looking at this, there are a couple things that I think are important. So, you know, Patrick Mahomes has not really been a tight window thrower, period. You know, that's been the case throughout his career. He throws to guys that are open. He also has not been a huge back shoulder thrower, although he did show that ability, especially in 2022 with Juju. They had some chemistry there. But it's not been like a consistent thing. He's not like a jump ball thrower in the end zone. So it's interesting that they're trying this out. And I know Chiefs fans have already gotten kind of excited in the past about Justin Ross and his possibility in being that guy. And, Ross was just cut from the team and allowed to pursue other opportunities after being a camp darling for a couple years and even making the roster one year. But maybe it'll be different with Brownlee is what people are thinking, because the Chiefs definitely tried this out intentionally. I think the first thing to take note of is watch Brownlee keep the corner in front of him and keep the corner going away from the ball until the last minute. He does not, even at this moment, he does not at all allow the corner to realize that this ball is coming back shoulder, right? The whole benefit of a back shoulder throw, and the only time that you will throw back shoulder, is when you feel like the corner is remaining over the top of your receiver, right? And you need the corners back turned so that they don't see it, because if the back shoulder throw is foreseen by the corner, that's something that could theoretically be jumped, especially in the red zone, where like if he's able to jump this, it's not like he's going to get a ton of depth on his coverage. So if he's able to jump that, something very bad could happen. He could take that all away. So with Mahomes making a quick throw here, like all he's really scanning to make sure is that probably, that's my guess, is that the corner's not looking at him. If the corner's looking at him, you cannot throw this back shoulder. But that's all Mahomes really has time on this, right? He's just kind of hopping back and planting and firing. So probably the one thing he's scanning is, are you looking at me? If you're looking over there, I'm throwing this ball. And Brownlee does a good job of keeping the corner's attention and keeping the corner's momentum in this direction until the very last minute. That to me is the best part. I mean, yes, it's an awesome catch, like a really, really good catch. But it's also really good how well he's able to ensure that there is no way that the corner can interfere with this catch, because he keeps the corner moving. Even though he's looking back, he doesn't give any indication the ball is behind him until he plants right here and goes. He keeps the corner moving in this direction, and then he's able to use his body to stay in between the ball and the corner. The corner has no chance here, and this is just unreal athleticism to go back and get the ball. But I mean, this is very promising. This is the kind of thing that'll play, right? If you can set a corner up, get him moving away, him focused on you, and then you have the athleticism to then turn around and make that catch. I mean, that's a phenomenal catch. So it's interesting, if Brownlee can come in and be a little bit of a red zone threat. The other person that was we were hoping might be able to do something like this was Jody Fortson, and poor guy has struggled with the most untimely of injuries. It seems like anytime he's getting stuff together, he gets hurt. But he would have been the other intriguing person. The other thing you got to say is the ball placement here. I mean, Mahomes throws it right in the right spot. This is a great throw, great setup by the receiver, and the read to understand that the corner is not going to interfere with this because he's not paying attention. If he's looking back at the quarterback, you don't make this throw. I don't know that we can tell a lot from the line here on a quick throw like this. I mean, you love how quickly Simmons gets out of his stance and how well he moves. I mean, he's always set, and it's not like forced. It's not like he's, occasionally when Juwan Taylor gets his big like vertical sets, like it just looks asynchronous with the rest of the team. But man, Simmons is just a smooth mover. I mean, you really have to like the way that he just looks like an athlete. And if he is as strong as he seems at the NFL level and he moves like he does relative to NFL defensive linemen, it's Pretty exciting. Anyway, that would be it for the first team offense, but we'll keep looking at the first team offensive line as they played with the rest of the second team. All right, Gardner Minshew's in the game. Looks like Kelsey and Pacheco are done for the day, but the Chiefs' starting offensive line is still there, and so we are going to review those snaps with particular emphasis on the left side of the offensive line to see how they're coming together, with our left guard being Kingsley Suamataia, who used to be our left tackle until he was benched after 2 games last year, and our new left tackle, Joshua Simmons. If these two play well, this could be an amazing young core to build up the left side of the line, with the rest of the interior, the center and guard, Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey are paid and around here for a little while. Right side, Juwan Taylor, more than likely his last year in Kansas City, but that's a bridge we can cross when we get there. We care about the left side today, so we'll take a look at it. Chiefs are in 11 personnel. 1 running back, Kareem Hunt. 1 tight end, Noah Gray. Get to 11 personnel, and the wide receivers are Jalen Royals out wide, Tyquan Thornton in the slot, and Xavier Worthy out wide on the other side. Chiefs are essentially just going to run verticals. Got Thornton coming across, Noah Gray running up the seam, and Royals is going to run a hitch. And Kareem Hunt is going to leak out of the backfield. It's kind of an Andy Reid special with the running back to clear out everybody and see if you can get the running back going. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this clip already on social media because of what happened on the left side of the line on this one. There's a late blitz coming from this linebacker, and Kingsley Suamataia is a little late to pick it up. So as the blitz comes in, Kingsley kind of comes toward helping with the tackle and opens up a little bit, gives too much on the outside, then struggles to get back in front of the blitzing linebacker. Ultimately, it gets pushed off of his spot and trips over Creed. And at the same time, the defensive tackle that Creed was working with also is able to loop around. So he's able to loop around, and the linebacker gets to him, and Minshew's attempt to pass it to Kareem Hunt falls incomplete. So a lot has been said about this play. To me, it's one play. I'm not overly concerned about it. I think that the fact that he was, a lot of people made mention of the fact that he was overpowered by a linebacker. I'm not as worried about that because he was off balance, right? Kingsley, we know, is not somebody who did very well with getting himself into a spot quickly, recovering and re-anchoring. He was really inconsistent with that. So the problem to me is the late identification of the blitz. He IDs the blitz late. He's not able to get out to his spot, and so he's not able to get a strong base and gets pushed off his spot. You also don't know, the unfortunate bit is right as he's pushed right here is when he trips on Creed. So we also don't know, it's possible that after taking that shove, he's able to re-anchor and hold his ground, It was a comedy of errors here, he not able to get there in time. That kind of lateral agility piece has always been a problem for him. That's why he might be better suited as a guard than a tackle. So he just missed the blitz, wasn't able to get out there on time, took an initial hit, and never really got a chance to recover and re-anchor because he tripped over Creed. I don't know. Obviously not a good rep, but not something to be like, oh no, he, got clowned by a linebacker. He missed a blitz. Yeah. It happens. He's a young guy. It's a new position. Let's see how it goes. If we're looking over at Joshua Simmons, he looks fantastic. Gets out in front of the end. Essentially stands him up, nowhere to go. It's a good rep from him. All right, we've got the second down play now. On the 21-yard line, we've got 11 personnel again, Hunt and Gray. And we've got Royals, Thornton, and Xavier Worthy. This time, a little more varied pass concept. So we're going to have Thornton clear out. Now, this is something to watch because remember, people have talked about how Thornton kind of most tracks as the Justin Watson MVS kind of role in this offense. So you see him running a very Justin Watson or MVS route here, just clearing out. Jalen Royals is going to go out. Noah Gray's going to turn, make himself available. Worthy runs an in, and Hunt goes out to the flat. The Cardinals run like a modified cover one man, essentially blitzing the linebacker again and dropping the end in coverage. He actually is man-to-man coverage on Kareem Hunt, and the other linebacker ends up being the robber. So as we watch this unfold, Minshew sees it quick and throws it out to Hunt. Kareem Hunt looks like he's got a little bit of juice. He looks a little more like he did earlier in the season before he got worn down. I wonder if the Chiefs are going to be able to keep his touches more manageable this year so that he can hopefully have some juice in the playoffs. All right, so looking at our linemen here, they ran the same blitz at Kingsley again, and he was ready for it this time. You know, he passed off the tackle and was ready for the blitz, ready to pick it up right there. It looks like the goal on this throw may have been a quick throw. You see, let's get to the end zone view. So you see Josh Simmons this time handling a speed rusher on the edge. He gets out and works him around the arc. If you look at the depth here that he's allowing, I mean, way behind the quarterback. Like I said, it looks like they knew this was going to be a quick pass. That was the design here. So Simmons perfectly happy to give up that level of depth. He's not expecting a deep drop from his quarterback. One reason why you think that it might have been like known that they were going to take the quick throw is that Juwan Taylor quick set. Like even if Juwan Taylor is gonna, he's gonna quick set, you know it's a quick throw. He's the one that takes all the deep vertical sets all the time. But yeah, this snap looks pretty good from the left side. Of course, it's quick, so the ball getting out always helps everybody. But Kingsley much more equipped to handle that blitz, ready for it. Simmons does a nice job working his man deeper on the arc. No chance for any problems there. It's a good rep from the left side there. So I realized that I referred to Jalen Moore as Juwan Taylor on the last clip, and so that's why Juwan Taylor was quick setting. It wasn't Juwan Taylor, it was Jalen Moore. In the second drive, the Chiefs have the starting offensive line, but they've swapped Juwan Taylor for Jalen Moore, as they have been kind of rotating him in during training camp at right tackle occasionally. So my mistake on that last one. But let's get to this third down play. We now have the Chiefs again in 11 personnel. One running back, Kareem Hunt. One tight end, Noah Gray. They've still got Worthy, Royals, and Thornton in the game. So they run a nice pass concept. You know, Andy, I love the way he dials these things up. They're playing against cover one man, and so he's got Gray coming up and in, and he's got Thornton on his inside hip, then coming out, and it works as like a natural rub action. Royals comes up and does a return, but watch how Thornton runs this route. Like he stays behind, and the timing here is so important. He stays behind and to the inside, trying to make his defender have to stay over the top of Noah Gray. And then as his defender approaches Noah Gray's defender, as they get close, that's when he sneaks behind and makes his break. And that just buys him enough separation. It acts as a natural rub to get him open for a big catch for a first down. But it's all about play design and execution. This is why Andy Reid is so detail-oriented. He's got the design that, if you guys time this right, and time this right, I mean like the steps, how far away, this distance is all important. How far away you are from Noah Gray, the timing of your route, time your steps up with him so that you can make your break right when you want to, right when he's coming in, right when your defender is leaning in, and then you break out. And that's just enough of a rub, the defender having to kind of watch for his teammate and come out over the top a little bit, and he's not able to get any kind of angle to come in and close out on this. And that's a big catch for a first down. So just cool play design from Andy Reid. And then if we are to look over at the left side of our line, Kingsley actually has some work to do on this one. He and Creed are working together on the defensive tackle. And Josh Simmons, if you'll notice, he gets hands up to his face, which is a defensive penalty that wasn't called. But even in that instance, with the hands up in his face, he's able to hold his ground and allow a throw to come off. So really good rep there from Simmons. And we can see the line operating. So here are Kingsley and Creed doubling. Looks good. Simmons gets out. Initially gets pushed back a little bit. He's got hands up at his neck. That's really, really close. So it's possible the hands weren't quite up in his face, but definitely up into his neck. So it's very close, borderline. But he managed to hold his ground and let his quarterback make a throw. And the throw was possible due to a nice play design and great execution from Gray and Thornton. Also, you wonder, like, if the Cardinals were going to run cover one like that, like, you just wonder about getting Worthy open and just trying a deep shot to him at some point during this game, because Worthy would have been able to beat them deep at some point. But all in all, a good rep, nicely done from Gray and Thornton, and the left side of the line looked good. All right, so we got our next play on first down. Chiefs remain in 11 personnel with Kareem Hunt as the running back, and they've got Robert Tonyan here as a tight end. Actually, this is 12 personnel. Noah Gray's up here too. So we've got one running back, two tight ends. They got Robert Tonyan in. He's basically taking Worthy's place because it looks like we've got Thornton and Royal still here in the game. So it's 12 personnel, but they really spread it out until Tonyan comes in here tight. And it looks like this is, again, an RPO. So if you look at it, Minshew has the option. He can hand off here, going that way, or he's got the kind of swing slant combination that we saw in the red zone on the pass interference to Thornton earlier with the first team offense. But if you see here, this seems like a much better option to hand this off. The box is light. There are, you might call this a 7-man box, but the linebackers are playing off, which really makes this slant a lot harder to throw, right? Because you have this underneath defender. So this seems like, unless you're going to really pop it in this window, which is something that Mahomes does frequently, you can hand this one off. And Hunt, the line actually creates decent hole, but it's great fill from the safety here, who's the one unblocked man, and he just comes right down and makes the play. But if we look at the line, look at Kingsley run blocking. So we've got Creed, who's trying to get to the second level and find a linebacker. And Kingsley comes and takes the defensive tackle, and he moves him. Walls him off and moves him. I mean, this is quite decent. It's not dominant, but, and the tackle's able to try to get an arm on Hunt, but it's really Budda Baker's presence here that ends up blowing this play up. But I feel like this is a pretty decent rep from Kingsley. Does his job, and same thing from Simmons. Coming through and making sure things are walled off from the back. So if we have a situation where these guys can move people in the run game, because that's one thing, Tooney was an absolute monster as a pass blocker, and he certainly wasn't negative as a run blocker, but he wasn't a mauler either. So with this, added strength, this added beef, if they're able to move people in the run game, we know what Trey Smith does in the run game, and Creed is always game. So suddenly that could make this part of the offense a little bit more dangerous. In this case here, a good run fit from Buda Baker kind of stops this play in its tracks. Now we get to the second down play after that short run from the Chiefs, and we've got the Chiefs out here in 11 personnel again. We got the one running back is Kareem Hunt, the tight end is Noah Gray. Now we've got Tyquan Thornton, Sky Moore, and Jalen Royals on the field. Got Minshew in the shotgun, and let's see what happens. Got Gray motions over and comes back over to the left. Minshew takes the snap, and the Chiefs run another draw, and Kareem Hunt just excelling at picking through traffic and shaking off weak tackles, ends up getting a first down. So here again, the draw, a lot more about deception. Trey Smith not as successful at just walling his guy off as he was last time to create this hole. Jalen Moore does a pretty good job on this side, but Smith does enough to give Hunt a chance to squeeze by. And that's all you got to do. The big thing about blocking is just give your guy a chance. It doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't have to be dominant, and Trey Smith's able to do that. It wasn't the rep that he had before, but it's a similar design here. You've got Humphrey getting to the second level, Noah Gray too. We saw Humphrey and Travis Kelce do that when the first team offense was out. And Chiefs run it again quite successfully. Not a ton for our left side guys to do because they're on the back side of this run, so they're basically just holding their ground and making sure nobody is able to crash it from behind. But a good play. Chiefs like this draw. They've run it twice in this game already, and a couple decent sized runs. The Chiefs had a botched QB center exchange on the next play. No point in having to break that down, so we'll go to the second down play. Where they are set up again, 11 personnel. Got the one running back, one tight end, Noah Gray. That running back looks like it's Elijah Mitchell who's gotten into the game. Yeah, that's right. So Elijah Mitchell, Noah Gray, running back, tight end. That gives you 11 personnel. Then we've got Thornton, Sky Moore, and Jalen Royals. So take a look at this play. Minshew out of the shotgun. Sends Mitchell over to the left, takes a snap out of empty and throws a quick screen to Royals that gets completely blown up. So going back and looking at this one, so they're really trying to get the whole line out there, trying to get a whole convoy. But nobody is able to make one of the initial important blocks that will make this play happen. I mean, number one is Sky Moore. He's got to block him. Let's just take a look at how that goes. Well, he's the one that makes the tackle. So, not great from Sky Moore. You really got to feel for the guy. This is second round pick. Really, if you get through week 2 of 2023, where I think he had something like 6 catches for 70 some odd yards or something, maybe even more. As far as yardage, because he had that really long catch to seal the game against Jacksonville. But ever since then, it's just been a comedy of errors, And he had the issues his rookie year with the drops and the muff punts, but you were just thinking that, things might turn around for him. It just never happened. And then when you're on this side and you're missing blocks and stuff, what value are you showing the team, that you have? That's really tough. I really feel bad because from the outside, he looks like a really good guy. But Jalen Moore wasn't able to get his block either. I mean, I know it's tough getting out there and getting a smaller, quicker guy, but, if nobody's going to block anybody, screen pass isn't going to work. The other thing that seems unfortunate is, they've got the whole line trying to form a convoy out here. But it looks like my guess is because of the defensive end getting toward the passing lane, Minshew has to throw this ball behind Royals. Like, the ideal would be to get Royals moving this way, since his convoy is right here and going. But the throw, he catches back here, and he spins to his outside. So he's going in the wrong direction. He's not where his blockers are. The blockers that are supposed to be doing things out here are not. Just not a good play overall. Not much to say other than once Sky Moore and Jalen Moore missed their blocks, nothing was happening on this play. And the ball placement didn't help, although I don't think Minshew did that out of just poor placement. I think he did it out of necessity because the defensive end was getting in his passing lane. So all in all, not good. Not a great play. You can watch it from the end zone view. And you can see how, the offensive lineman just kind of quick contact and get out there. And, he had a convoy. Here they are. They're all ready, but couldn't even get off the ground here and going in the wrong direction too. So, yeah, unfortunate play. And now we have the last play with our first team offensive line on the field. This is a third down play. So they started going backwards. We're in 11 personnel one more time. One running back here, Kareem Hunt, and our tight end is Noah Gray over there. Tyquan Thornton, Sky Moore, and Jalen Royals are the wide receivers. Let's take a look at this play, and then we can break it down. We got Minshew in the gun. They motion Royals over and bring him back. So we're staying with 3-by-1. Takes the snap. Gets some pressure. He rolls out to his right, doesn't see anything he likes, and runs out of bounds. To make matters worse, there is a holding call, a flag that was thrown on Trey Smith. So what are the Chiefs doing here? Well, they've got crossers, and they've got Thornton coming back. Minshew drops back. And on the left side, actually, the pocket's pretty good. So Simmons does get chip help right here from Kareem Hunt, who chips going out. But he's able to maintain his side of the pocket pretty well. Kingsley and Creed are working together again to work on the tackle. It really looks like Jalen Moore is the one who he allowed some inside pressure, but actually got on top of it. And Minshew bailed and seemed to think that he was going to be able to hit one of these crossers, but neither guy really came open like that, so he ended up holding on to it. Again, looking at it from this view, nothing to complain about from our two youngins, Kingsley, of course, had Creed helping, and Simmons had the chip, but they really did a good job holding their ground. Nobody got open for Minshew. That ended the drive, and they ended up having to punt. So that's it from our first team offensive line evaluation. We'll have more snaps to look at from week 2. And then when we do week 3 preseason, because the first team doesn't play that much, we might just have some fun backup plays to look at. But that's it for the first team offensive line.